with you all, I should say, just a little talk. I want to talk about what do you do uh, when you're uncertain about your finances. Hang on a second here. I'm looking for my other mic. I had three. I had looking for my other mic, and I don't know where I put it. But what do you do when you're uncertain about your finances? What do you do when you're uncertain about your career or the way to go forward? And how are you supposed to handle that? So let me just make sure everyone's on this call really quickly, and I'm going to share this link, and I'll be ready for you guys in just a second. All right, can you all hear me? Is everyone there? Um, every single time I go live, I pretty much say the same thing, which is that it wasn't planned. And this is another one of those situations where, once again, it wasn't planned for me to be going live. But yesterday, I'm looking for my cord. Yesterday, I received so many responses. Literally, and this is not an exaggeration, tens of thousands of responses yesterday. I kid you not. When I put a post up, and I'm realizing all across the board, all across the nation, really, everyone pretty much is going through the same thing. People are either uncertain about their career, uncertain about their finances, uncertain about their goals, worried and wondering if they're on the right track and which way do I go. And I saw such a mix of hang on a second here. I saw such a mix of different responses from people. Hang on one second here, you guys. I'm sorry, something's popping up on my phone and I'm just trying to get rid of it. But I saw such a mix of responses from people, just saying that from people that are completely, I should say faithful, saying, I know God's going to make it clear to me and I'm just going to wait on the Lord, all the way through people saying, Z, I've just waited so long, I just don't even know if it's worth waiting anymore. So I want to know, the people who are on this live right now, we're going to have a quick little talk about what exactly are you supposed to do when you're uncertain about your career, when you're uncertain about your finances, or you're trying to go down this road and you think that's what God is telling you to do, but you're not quite sure. So let me see if everyone's here right now. I'm seeing some people saying, hey, good afternoon. I'm already seeing some people in my mentorship group. I'll be seeing you all. We have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow for those who are in the entrepreneur mentorship, and we have a meeting scheduled for Monday for those who are in the other one. So I have so much fire that I'm ready to pour on you guys, Mike and Amy and the rest of you guys. I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow and Monday. But let me just ask a few more questions here. So let me just see here. So work while waiting. Okay. So what are you supposed to do when you're uncertain about the next move to make? And it's got to be an issue that a lot of us are dealing with in life, right? I don't always exclude myself from that, just to be clear. I got tens of thousands of responses yesterday. So I know a lot of people are feeling the stress and feeling the heaviness. What are you supposed to do? Let me see some answers here. I see Jennifer saying, good afternoon, Miss Z. Okay. I see Hannah is on here. Let me see. Pray for directions. Yes. What else are we supposed to do, Divine? That's a good answer right there. But what else are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to be doing? Someone said, feeling very lost in my career right now. Okay. I'll come back to you, Crystal, in just a minute. Hopefully if I get some time, depending on how long this live goes. Okay, I'm going to look at a little bit more. So someone says fast and pray. Yes, we're supposed to be fasting and praying. I think let's just kind of get the norm established. The norm is, at least for most of us, let me just say, I think for most of us, and I don't exclude myself from this, you all. The norm is we definitely pray. I think we know to do that, at least most of us, right? And the norm is we definitely, in some cases, fast, right? What is another norm? Another norm is, we get out our Bible and we read our Bible, right? And we do our best to, just try to get some wisdom, right? Right? Can anyone think of anything else? What does the Bible teach us? Now, just to be clear, the Bible absolutely teaches us that we need to always pray. Just to be clear, nothing trumps the Word of God as far as I'm concerned. But what else does the Bible teach us? I think sometimes we can miss out on some of the nuggets. And I'm going to be talking to this a little bit more tomorrow when I meet with the entrepreneurs who are in my mentorship session, because they're learning. Tomorrow, we're going to be diving deeper into learning some Bible-based patterns and some Bible-based principles that we can apply to our businesses so we know the direction to go. But what else does the Bible teaches us? Crystal says, I've been waiting over a year in prayer to be in a better position in my career. Feel like I'm failing despite praying. So I'm gonna talk to you you, Crystal, for a little bit, because I think you're kind of encompassing what a lot of people feel. Somebody says feeling lost with the calling, a church home, a career. Okay, I appreciate you guys being honest on that. I seek wisdom from others that's gone through the same thing. Ella, I'm glad you said that. I did a whole live, I think yesterday or the day before, about the importance of seeking out help. And I invited a lot of people into my mentorship program, which many of you all have joined. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, that's at unlockinggreatness.com. The link is in my bio. But it's very, very important to seek out wisdom and get yourself into a community of like-minded individuals and get that insight. So I'm glad you said that. So I'm gonna focus a little bit on Crystal just for the moment. She says, Z, been waiting over a year in prayer to be in a better position in my career and personal life. Feel like I'm failing despite praying. That's the line that I want to harp on for a moment. Now, just to be clear, I don't have all your answers, you guys. You know, your ministers and pastors and preachers and stuff can probably run circles around me. But I know I've lived long enough and experienced enough and seen enough ups and downs right in my life that I pray that God can speak through me to help you just a little bit, as I help myself as well, if I can be very honest with you. So if it's okay with you guys, I'm going to focus a little bit with talking to Crystal, but I'm going to be talking to all of us. Crystal says, I feel like I'm failing despite my praying. Is there anyone else that can get caught into that cycle of, I feel like I'm failing? What is it that makes us feel like we're failing? We feel like we're failing because we don't see in the physical what we've been praying for. Am I right? We don't see it manifested in the physical first. And so there's a tendency there to feel like we're failing. One of the things I want to talk to you all about, let me just slow down a little bit because I want to make sure that I'm setting the stage for this. We have to labor in the spirit. That's number one. That's very important. And there are some seasons and some times in our life when God takes us through a stage of being hidden, which I've talked about that. I've read many chapters from chapter 2 from my book on that. And there's some stages we go through where there's strange favor that's happening, but it doesn't look like favor. That's strange favor. And that strange favor is, wait a minute, I've been praying a while for this to happen and I don't see things turning around. So could it be possible? Could it be possible that my prayers are being heard? But could it be possible that God has put something in my hands that I need to do with? Could it just be possible that maybe my eyes are not fully open to what I need to be seeing right now? I'm only asking the question. Could it be possible? Could it be possible that God is grooming me right now in this season that I'm in? And this is the season when I think that I'm wasting time. This is the season of my preparation when I need to be getting ready. Could it just be possible? Let's look at a couple passages real quickly in the Bible. You guys turn to, first of all, there's so many passages I want to turn to. Let's first turn to Ephesians. You guys turn over to the book of Ephesians. And for those of you who are already in my mentorship, we're going to go through quite a bit more of this tomorrow. But turn over to the book of Ephesians. Let's just take our time and have what I call this a family talk. And I'm used to doing this on a Zoom call with people in my mentorship, but I'm just going to do my best to kind of do it in social media. In Ephesians chapter 1, there's a beautiful passage in here when the Apostle Paul was talking to them. He said, I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened, in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you, the glorious riches, the riches of his glorious inheritance in the saints, and his incomparably great power for us who believe. I think it's so amazing that he said, I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened. Do you all know many times we walk around and the eyes of our hearts are not enlightened because we only see what's right there in the physical, what's in front of us. That's how we're trained to see things, right? We're trained to look at our bank account and see what's in there. And if it's looking good, be happy. And if it's not, start worrying, right? We're trained that if something don't feel right, maybe I'm not on the right path and I don't know what to do. And then we're trained to kind of stress and worry about it. We'll read and pray in our Bible a little bit, but then that's kind of all we know what to do. Well, let's take this story just a little bit further. I've read to you all before. I want everyone to turn over to the book of 2 Kings. And I know I've gone through this before, but somebody may need to hear this. And I'm going to jump around a little bit because I got a couple other things I want to share with you all. I'm going to do my best to wrap all this up in just a little bit of time. Let me just see here. I see some meetings, some messages. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Yes. Someone says put the chapter in the chat. So turn over to 2 Kings chapter 4. One of the things I love about 2 Kings chapter 4, the widow's oil. I want you guys to listen to this, and I've read it before, but let's just read it a little bit more. It says, the wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried out to Elijah, your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as slaves. Elijah said to her, how can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? It's one of my favorite lines in the Bible, because Elijah is saying to her, what do you have in your house? Which didn't she just say, basically, I don't have any money. My husband was a good man, but he's gone. And now these creditors are coming to take my sons away because I don't even have the money to pay. So why on earth would this prophet say to her, well, what do you have in your house? Like, what gives you that kind of insight to be able to tell somebody, what do you have in your house? It's almost like, what do you have in your hands? What is it that God has given you? What gift of talent are you sitting on, or that he's given you that you're not putting to use? Now, if your eyes are not fully open to this, you probably will end up going off on this person, because you probably end up saying, you wasted my time. Didn't I just tell you that I don't have anything? Didn't I just tell you, Z, that my finances are ruined? Didn't I just tell you I don't know which direction to go in my career? Didn't I just tell you that I don't know quite what I'm doing, if I'm even hearing from God or not? Why on earth are you asking me, what do you have in your house? What do you have in your hand? So let's read on to see what he said. He says, Elijah replied to her, how can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? And I just love her response. She says, your servant has nothing there at all. She said, except a little oil. I just absolutely love that. And you may say, well, Z, that's kind of weird. Why would you like that she said that? I like that she said that because this relates to a lot of us. Sometimes we feel like we've done everything that we know to do. Am I right? Am I right? You know to pray, you know to get in your Bible, you know to do your best to treat people well and what have you, right? Right? And what she's saying is that your servant has nothing there at all except a little bit of oil. And Elijah said, go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars. Don't ask for a few. Then go inside and shut the door behind you. And then he told her to pour oil into all the jars, as each is filled, put one aside. So she left him, and afterwards shut the door behind her and her sons. They brought the jars to her, and she kept pouring. When all the jars were full, she said to her son, bring me another one. They said, there's not another jar left. Then the oil stopped flowing. Now, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this story because I've talked about it at least 3 or 4 times. I just want to reference it before we go a little deeper. Someone says, I just spoke about this. Okay, come on, Chosen. I love that you said that, baby. I love it. I love it. I love it. I've already talked about this story a number of times, but I'm just sort of setting the stage for where we're about to head right now, okay? I'm going to try my best to spend about a good 12 or so minutes with you guys. I'm setting the stage that she thought she didn't have anything there at all. She didn't see any value. And she said, I only have just a little bit, just a little bit of oil. And Elijah the prophet. See, this is what you got to do when you look at the scriptures. You don't look at it as just the face value. You look at what are you pulling from, and what is the how does the Bible teach us? What is the mystery behind it, right? Is there a parable? Is there a principle that we're supposed to follow? And for those of you who are in my mentorship, we're going to be talking about that quite a bit tomorrow and on Monday. But is there a parable? Is there a principle I'm supposed to be following? So look sort of behind the scenes, not just at just the story. So the story itself says this woman was in some financial difficulty. She was in some trouble. Am I right? And then this prophet is saying, well, what do you already have? So it's almost like the Bible, it's almost like God is teaching us, well, what do you already have that I've given you to put to use? And you're like, well, I don't have nothing. And it's almost like God is saying, well, is that so? Is that true? And she's saying, well, I only got a little bit of oil. And he's saying, okay, well, go out and get some jars, and I want you to bring them in and fill them. So it don't even listen to me, it doesn't even make sense that you're doing what's been told to you to do, because a lot of times when God comes along and he gives us instructions in our life, it goes against every grain in our body because it just doesn't make sense. Like with me starting a podcast and not wanting to get a podcast going. I don't like social media. I like keep my life private. And yet in that secret place, God is telling me, no. What I'm pouring into you, my people need to hear these words. You guys get what I'm saying? Right? It's almost like, with me writing my book, Necessary. I wasn't trying to put all my business out there, but then God's waking me up in the middle of the night saying, no. I put a seed inside of you, baby. I planted something inside of you that's meant to come out. All that pain you've been through, all that worrying you're going through, everything that you're going through, I see it, but I planted something inside of you. And I need for you to allow that to come out. And it's scary, you guys. If you guys watched my live the other day, I made a major life-altering decision. to step away. I shouldn't say fully step away, but to turn away my focus from what I've been doing for literally almost 31 years and really place my focus on, you know what, God, I'm fully surrendered. I'm going to walk into this anointing that's a gift you've given me. And God has given me the gift of encouragement. I just happen to love my scriptures and just eat it up. I just absolutely love it, right? And I love mentoring and encouraging people. And many of you know about my mentorship program. You guys are all welcome to join, by the way. It's now back open. And that site is unlockinggreatness.com. The link is in my bio. But do you know how scary that is when you're stepping out on something and you're not quite sure? And you're like, oh, I want to do it, but God, is this really for me? God, can you give me one more sign? Kind of like Gideon. Gideon's like, can you give me one more sign, God, and show me that this is you? Some of you have just a little bit of oil in your jars right now, and you're seeing it as nothing. And it could be that you are an amazing writer. There's a story, all the pain and all the things you've been through. Do you know how many people will want to benefit from your book? Do you know how many people will want to benefit from your coaching, your mentoring? You may say, well, Z, I'm not all, I don't have everything all worked out in my life. Well, I don't either. I don't either. And I coach people. I show up authentically. You guys have seen me on my worst days and you've seen me on my best days. Am I right? You guys have seen me with a scarf on in the middle of the night. You guys have seen me crying, and you guys have seen me on fire rebuking every demon and devil known to mankind. Am I right? That's being a good coach and a good mentor, because then they get to see all of that. Some of you are already positioned for that. And I challenged you all the other day. Remember when I said to you all, and I'm not done going through the passages. I challenged some of you, and maybe the people in my mentorship group, now that I think about it, I challenged them as well. Some of you have some of the best ideas, products and services and things that you can offer, and you're not even out there on social media because you're too worried about what a bag of water thinks about you. I'm going to just say that one more time. Some of you, God's already answered your prayers. He already has the flow sitting there waiting on you. You have to walk under that anointing, under that flow that He's already predestined you for. And some of you, I'm not saying this is the case with everybody, you already know what you're supposed to be doing, but you're fighting it because maybe you're afraid. I see a whole lot of hearts going up. Maybe you're afraid. You guys think I'm not afraid? You think I'm not? I got 4 kids, right? A couple of which are still in college, right? And I have bills and things I have to pay and this and that. But you know what? I'm walking in what we call blue water. Now, for those of you here in my mentorship, we're going to be talking tomorrow quite a bit about blue water. That means that you're walking in your anointing and your call, and you're walking in a position where you can't easily be replaced because you're going all in on what God has told you to do. And you may not have all the instructions, all the directions. And so you're sitting there, and let me get something like I got a wallet in my hand. So you're sitting there and you're looking at that wallet. You're looking at that debit account, that checking account, and you're looking at what's lacking in there. And all the time you got all of this grace. Oh my God, somebody need to hear this. All this grace and all this anointing that's over you. A ray of light shining on you. God's put more talent in your finger than most people got. Some of you already started on the book and then stopped it. Some of you all know with everything that you've been through, you can turn around and help other people. And you're sitting there. And I know this for a fact because I coach people for personal development, and I also coach people who are in my entrepreneur section, right? So I see it all the time. And I see it, and it's so beautiful when we all come together because we all love and support each other. Such a beautiful community. And I see some of you all in here now. I'm trying not to read the message because I'll get distracted. Just give me a moment and I'll read it. But it's so beautiful seeing people come together. But what I see is that so many of us have that little bit of oil in our jar and we see it as nothing. And some of you should be out here right now, instead of scrolling through social media and just sort of numbing yourself, because that's what a lot of you are doing. And I know this because that's what I did. You're just numbing yourself, doing anything to keep your mind off your finances, your problems, your worries, right? And just scrolling through. One moment you're looking at a video on a cat. The next moment you're laughing about a scene. The next moment somebody's dancing. You're just scrolling through. And all the time, you got that greatness sitting there, just begging to come out. Just begging. You're supposed to be using social media. I'm going to say this to somebody. This may sting. You're supposed to be using social media, number one, to bring glory and honor to God. That don't mean you have to be a minister or a pastor. I don't have a church or anything, right? Right? That's number one. And number two, use your gifts and talents that He's poured into you and given you to be a light for others. while you're sitting there. Now I'm talking to you like a mother or like a sister, however you want to see me. This is love speaking. I'm not judging, I'm speaking love. Because I got tens of thousands of messages yesterday. Well over 50,000 messages came in. So I know what I'm saying when I'm telling you what a lot of people are saying to me. You're sitting there and you got that talent and you got that gift. And you should be out there, putting it out there, letting people know your product, letting people know your service, right? Or whatever it is that you feel you're going through. And instead, you're looking at, gosh, but I've been praying and praying and praying. I'm feeling like a failure because I don't see things coming to be. Could it just be, I'm just asking, could it just be something's in your hand that you're not seeing? Could it just be that? Could it just be that? And I'm going to tell you guys something. It's so scary when you get out there and you step out there on that platform and you present your gift or your talent or whatever it is to the world. It's so scary. And some of you are doing it, but you're tired because you still don't see those results coming in, right? You still don't see exactly, okay, I'm not quite sure where to go. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. But I want to talk to the people who are just sitting there. Someone says, which option is for the entrepreneur on your website? There's two options on there, baby. One is for personal development, and then one is for those who are entrepreneurs. You either already have your business up and going, or you want to expand it globally and you want to get some help with that, or you really haven't done the first thing to even launch your business yet, but you want to get advice and get help and get insight and learn how to apply Bible-based principles and patterns to what you're doing so that you can be able to launch it successfully. So that's what we're focused on this year. Our next talk is tomorrow. So if you do end up joining, I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you introduce yourself in the community. So let me go to the next thing that I want to say in here. So you guys just hang on to that thought really quickly. Turn over to Matthew. I'm going to try to go as quick as I can. I know some of you all on lunch breaks. And this will be saved on my YouTube and some other places. Let's go to Matthew real quick, the parable of the talents. Now, I know I've read this at least 10 times. I already know, right? But there's some people on this live that may have never even heard it. Let me see. Someone says, thank you for posting. Need help in setting up social media sites and how to use them. Cheryl, I'm not sure if you're my mentorship or not, and I apologize because I'm trying to recognize your last name. But we talk quite a bit about that, and tomorrow we're talking quite a bit about that because the next 3 or so months we're really focusing on how do you become a global brand with whatever product or service you have, but by applying God first principles. There's so much I can tell you about social media. I could just spend 20 minutes with you right now just kind of firing at you a whole lot of things you need to know. The shortest version I'll give you is please don't overthink it. If you're on this live right now, that means you have access to a phone and probably one of these little cheap live mics, these little $12 mics or whatever. Cheryl, turn that phone on, pop that thing in and start recording, start talking and get it out there. Don't worry about trying to have everything perfect. That's the shortest version I can give you. Okay, turn over to Matthew chapter 25 and let's go through the parable of the talents. Now, the parable of the talents, I'm not going to read it all through because I've read this many times before, but I know that there's maybe at least a couple of people in here that's never even heard of this story. Someone says, thank you for your encouragement. You're welcome, baby. I'm doing this because, let me be really honest with you guys. We really have to labor in the spirit. Before I went live, what you don't see, and I thought about recording so you can see it, but then I didn't want to be weird like recording myself. You didn't see me last night in my closet from about, 8 something to maybe 11 something at night in my closet, just kneeling down before God, asking him to speak to me, asking him to show me who I am, being reminded that I'm called to speak to nations. Asking him, is there anything offensive in me that he sees, anything he wants to change? Asking him to keep me in his anointing and his grace. Asking him, show me, God, what do your babies need? Your babies are hurting. Show me what they need, God. I'm going to put you first across this all. See, you didn't see that. You didn't see for hours me just in my Bible. You didn't see Saturday from about 8 or so in the morning to at least, I don't even know how late it was. All I know is it was pitch black outside, sitting in the same spot the entire day, learning these biblical principles and patterns. Not only so I can apply it in my personal life, but also in my business life. And not only just for me, but for the people that I mentor in my mentorship program. That's laboring in the spirit. Sometimes you just got to labor in the spirit. And you continue to seek God and seek his presence until your answers are given to you. Remember the other day when I went live and I went through the passages that teaches about you got to search for wisdom as though for silver, as though for hidden treasures. And remember I asked you all, I said, if someone had a treasure chest in your backyard and you knew it was filled with $1 million, but you don't know exactly where it's at, How long would it take you to get out there with a shovel and start digging through that whole backyard? And almost every last one of you all said, Z, I would be there right now. Am I right? Well, this is no different. Now, there's a piece to this that you also need to know, and this is what I want to talk about. You also got to be humble enough to reach out and get some doggone help. That's the part that actually surprises me more than anything, is the amount of people that actually don't reach out and get the help, even when the help is available for them, because you just try to figure it out on your own. God uses men to help men. And when I say men, I'm just using that term just in general for everybody. It's all through the Bible. Before I go through Matthew 25, I want you guys to turn to, I think it's Acts chapter 8. No, let me stay on track. First, I'm going to do Matthew, then I'm going to go to Acts chapter 8, because I want you guys to learn the story about Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch. And I want you to understand how he was sitting there trying to understand the passages that he was reading. And Philip came along. First of all, the Lord directed Philip to him. And Philip is like, do you know what you're reading? I'm now paraphrasing. The guy's like, I really kind of don't know. I need somebody to explain it to me. And Philip got up there in the chariot with him and explained to him what the guy was trying to read, what he was trying to get. You know, beautiful passage in the Bible. One, it teaches us to be led by the Spirit. But the second thing it teaches us, get help. Get help. Don't sit there rehearsing those same negative tapes over and over and over again in your head. Life's falling apart and I'm giving up. And I'm not making fun of anybody. I want to be clear. And Z, you just don't understand. It's just been so hard. Well, what are you changing and what are you doing different? So if you're praying and you're reading and you're being sincere and doing all of that, right? And I already went over passages with you guys in the book of Daniel. I think it was chapter 11 or so, about how God heard your prayers the first time, right? Right? He heard your prayers. So if you're praying and you're doing all of that and you're still not seeing some progresses and changes going, is it possible that you need help with your mindset? Is it possible you need a little coaching or mentoring? And I'm not saying that to pitch my mentorship. Find one you like. I keep telling you guys that. I'm not a fit for everybody because I focus on Bible-based principles. I do focus heavily on mindset principles. We go through a ton of mindset exercises so you can get unstuck. I focus heavily on that, on Bible-based patterns. But if that's not your thing and you're not really into the word, okay, well, then find somebody else, but get help. Well, see, I don't have a dime to my name, like literally not even a single penny. Well, get yourself on YouTube and watch every mindset coach that you can watch, right? Do something to get some help, because God uses men to help men. That's what surprises me more than anything. That's what surprises me more than anything, is I'll get tens of thousands of messages from people. Oh my God, Z, I need help and this is just not working out and da 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 da. And then when it comes time to, okay, let me invest a little bit in myself, right? And you guys already know, even with my mentorship, like I lowered the price down extremely low so just about anybody can get in it. And by the way, that's at unlockinggreatness.com. The link is in my bio. But what amazes me is it's almost as if we're comfortable in the pain and we're comfortable with the excuses. And this isn't me being rude or mean at all, because you guys know I love you. But it's almost as if we've adjusted so much to it not working out that we just tell ourselves the same story over and over, and we have the same results every year, year after year, because we're afraid of getting help, afraid of it not working out, and just being complacent with this is just how life is, right? That's why I don't like using that statement, it is what it is. I don't like saying that statement anymore, because it's like, really, is it really what it is? Or is it how you're perceiving it and how you're making it out to be because you're not getting the help you need? Let's go to Matthew 25. Matthew 25. The parable of the talents. Let's just look at this parable that Jesus himself used about the person who had the talents that was given to him, but was afraid. You can use any word you want. You can say discouraged, fearful. Bottom line is the person didn't do anything with these talents. And let's see what this talent was all about, what this parable was all about. Now, just to be clear, especially for those of you who are on this live, because I do have some people in my mentorship group who are, I mean, it varies. There's life coaches in there. There's people that own all types of stores and companies. There are ministers in there. So it's just a mixture of a number of people that's in my group mentorship program, which I just love. I love people from all around the world. But just to be clear, I understand that this parable is about the coming of the kingdom of God. Just to be clear, not taking it out of context. But every time you read a passage, you're supposed to look at it behind the scenes a little bit. And you're supposed to look at, okay, what can I gather and pull from this to help me with what I'm going through now? So the parable of the talents, now this is Jesus giving this parable. He says again, it's Matthew 25, verse 14, for those who want to follow along. First of all, is everybody getting this? Because I'm seeing a whole lot of messages come through. Someone is saying, right. Martha is saying, I just love you, Martha, so much. Love you, love you, love you, Martha. Martha's been with me for a while in my mentorship. Martha, you're just an angel to me. Amy says, yes, so true. Okay, so you guys are there. All right, so Matthew chapter 25, parable of the talents. So again, it'll be like a man on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents of money, to the other 2, and to another 1 talent, each according to his ability. Now, pause a second. So you're not off the hook just because you're like, Z, well, I'm not that talented like everybody else. I'm not. So even if you only have 1, let's keep going. I'm in verse 16. The man who had received the 5 talents went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 more. Okay, so that's good. I'm going to skip around a little bit. So also the one with 2 talents gained 2 more. Okay, that's good. But the man who had received 1 talent went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of the servants returned to settle the accounts. Now, and I'm going to skip around just for the sake of time. So with the first person, master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 talents. See, I've gained 5 more. So the person that had 5 talents went out and invested it, did what he needed to do, and gained 5 more. And the master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things. Remember I told you all the other day, whatever you do with a little bit is what you're going to do with a lot. I got to pause there a second. You guys know how I go left field and then I'll come back. So you'll get used to it for those who are new to my channel. I'm trying not to use my kids as an example in case one of them are watching, but I doubt it because they barely listen to my episodes. I'll say it this way. Sometimes we can be praying and crying out to God so much for him to give us more, to increase our territory and take us to these new levels. But we're not paying attention to what we're doing with just a little bit that we have. If you're not, I'm not talking down to anyone. I'm actually speaking from my own experience. This is back in my days of gambling in casinos. And anyone knows me, you guys know my business right now because I've talked about it quite a bit in my book, Necessary, right? I cried and begged and pleaded and did everything I knew, asking God to bless me, open doors, bless my finances, help me, do this, do that. I'm talking years, right? But God loved me enough to hide me from myself. Now that's a word just right there. God loved me enough to hide me from myself. He loved me enough not to give me what I thought I needed at that time because I wasn't ready for the capacity. I couldn't hold it. I couldn't hold the capacity of what comes with the blessings. I wish I had more time with you guys. Oh, I wish I had more time. Jesus, please give me the words to say. Oh, so much I want to say on that. Lord, give me wisdom. I couldn't hold the capacity of what I was praying for because, one, I wasn't disciplined in my spending because I was running to casinos, sitting on some penny machines because I was going through so much in my marriage, so much, my God, and in and out of the hospital with my son and going through so much, and that was my way of numbing the pain. And then I would get lost in these fantasies where I would just go into fantasy land and start imagining these beautiful romantic scenes and things. And I know I'm going too deep for some people, so I won't go too far. But anyone that's been in a marriage, especially a lonely marriage, where you felt lonely, you've not felt love, you probably know what I'm talking about. I'm just keeping it real with you guys. I don't have to pretend that my life is perfect and that my life was perfect, I should say, right? And it is not perfect now. I don't have to pretend because I don't care what a bag of water thinks about me. And when I say a bag of water, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but we're mainly made of water. There's a podcast episode I produced a long time ago called Do Not Fear Bags of Water. So that's what I'm referring to. I digress. The point I'm making is I couldn't handle what comes with that next level. And for some of you, if you're anything like me, and I'm sure you are, some of you are asking for things and asking for God to pull you out of situations and asking him to bless your finances, bless this and bless that. But the word teaches us what we do with a little is what we're going to do with a lot. So we have to manage well what we have now. And it ain't even about just managing well. It's about being spiritually ready for that next level. Do you not know the higher you go, these new levels, we always say we're trying to go to another level. Do you guys not know what comes with that? Remember I did that story a couple weeks ago about the tear, the wheat and the tear? I wish I had time to turn to it, but I'm already going in 50 different places, so I'm trying to keep it centered. Remember we went over that story about the wheat and the tear? Hopefully you guys remember that one, right? Please don't make me turn to it because that's really going to take me left field. I'm already in the middle of Matthew chapter 25. But that's a beautiful story that talks about it was an example that was given about when the farmer went out and sowed good seed. Oh, I'm trying not to go into it, but I think I got to. And how the seeds began to grow. But then the next morning, they noticed all these weeds had come along because the enemy had come up overnight. And the enemy began to sow the wheat amongst the good seed. And then the workers of the field was like, what should we do? Should we go out there and pull it up? And the owner of the field was like, no, 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 no. No, no, no. You got to let them both grow up together. Then at harvest time, we'll take care of that. And we did a whole story on that. You guys can go back to my old podcast episodes on my YouTube channel and find it because I've spoken on it at least a couple times. I'm going somewhere with this. I know I'm drifting, but I'm going somewhere. The point that I'm getting at, I bring that story up to say, baby, as the seeds begin to grow, and as you begin to march your little butt into this new territory that you're begging God for, and I speak that with love. That's how I talk to people. Don't be offended. As you begin to march your little butt into this new territory, baby, you got to be ready for the giants that are there waiting as well. That's why you have to build capacity in the spirit. That's why mentorship is important as well. Mentorship is important, you guys. Building capacity in the spirit, praying is important. And I don't mean just any prayer. And for those of you who are already in my mentorship, we're going to be talking about this tomorrow when I meet with the entrepreneurs tomorrow. Because I know you guys are ready to get your companies off the ground, and many of you guys are ready to start getting these strategic plans together we're going to be working on. But what you don't know, now I'm speaking to those who are already in my mentorship group, what you don't know is I got a little surprise for you, because you're going to have to start developing a strategic prayer life. You have to build capacity in the spirit for the giants that are waiting on you at those new levels. Everything I'm talking about is biblical. That's why it's important that you understand biblical patterns and you understand what comes with it. Are you guys even aware of the amount of attacks on a daily basis that I get? You're not even aware of it because I don't go on social media talking about it. Not everybody wants some woman out here with a little afro talking about God, right? And then trying to help people with personal development and then having the audacity to try to help people grow their businesses as well. Hold on. By applying God first principles, are you kidding me? You guys are unaware of how many people have come at me, have said things about me. You know, you're not a minister. You're not a licensed minister. You shouldn't be talking about God. You don't have a church. You need to leave that for the people that know what they're doing. Well, baby, it ain't too many pages in my Bible that's not marked up. I love God with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And we all have a right to talk about God and encourage others in the Word. But you guys don't know some of the other things that happen behind the scenes that I can't even talk about. People that's try to scam people, using my name and asking for donations and this and that. It's just so many things that happens. You got to have that capacity built in the spirit. I know I went left field, but let me just stay left field another minute. You got to have that capacity built in the spirit. So you think, and now I want to go back to the lady I was speaking to earlier. Can't remember her name. You think sometimes we think God's punishing us, and I've been praying for so long. Could it be possible? Could it be possible? He's getting you ready. Could it be possible you have to build that prayer life in the spirit because that capacity you're going to need for that next level is so heavy? We've talked about David a gazillion times, have we not? I'm seeing all these messages. You're so divine. You're so on point. Let me see. Oh, my Lord, see just what I need to hear. I'm loving hearing this. We talked about David so many times. It can look like David was out there in that field wasting time, learning how to use a slingshot, fighting the lions, fighting the bears, taking the lion out of the bear's or the lion out of the bear out of the lion's mouth, or the lion's out of the bear's mouth, right? Playing the harp, right? Samuel come to the house to anoint his brothers. He didn't even consider. Like David didn't even think about his butt. It wasn't until Samuel's like, none of these are it. Do you not have, what did he tell Jesse? Do you not have another son, right? I know I'm still left field. Just let me stay where I'm at because I'm just following the spirit. But David's doing all that stuff that it's like, God, for years I've been praying. Like, where are you? I don't even know what to do. Like, give me the direction with my finances, with my career. Just show me. And all the time, God's like, you're getting that slingshot ready. That's good. You're building capacity in the spirit. You're learning how to pray to me. You know how many times I petition God and I go before him? Sometimes I'm literally hold on a second here. Sometimes I am literally rolling on my floor, and you guys would be like, "What is wrong with Z? Like, what's wrong with this woman?" I'm literally in my living room, and I'm rolling on the floor, rolling on the floor, almost like Jacob. Jacob is like, "I refuse to let you go until you bless me." You have to fight and build that capacity in the spirit, and guess what? It don't come easy. So yeah, it gets hard. Yeah, you've been praying a long time. Yeah, sometimes you don't know which direction to go and this and that, and you're out there fumbling and falling and trying to figure it out. But just like for any of you who may have children or a loved one, don't even have to be your biological child, when your kids mess up, and I have adult kids, I can't even use them as examples, but I'll just tell you, my God, they've made some mistakes, right? But you know what? No matter what mistakes they make, I'm still there for them because I'm mama. I still love them no less. You guys got me going so far left field. I ain't even finished this reading. Oh my God, and I'm trying not to talk about the prodigal son when he returned to his father, and his father ran and met him and put the robe around him and put a ring on his finger and welcomed him back. And the son felt like he had just gone way too far out of his father's blessing and was so embarrassed to come back. And his father ran. And it's so beautiful that that's in the Bible, that God teaches us. I don't care what you've done, how much you've messed up, where you've been, just turn back to me. And how the father just ran to him. Oh my God. I literally, if it were up to me, I could sit here and talk to you all for hours, like every day, because this gives me energy. This fills my spirit. Nothing ever is really planned, to be honest with you. I just do a lot of praying before I go live. Like I pray for hours. I don't want to exaggerate. It was at least an hour, but maybe it was for hours before I even went live on this. Because I'm like, God, what is it? Why? I'm supposed to be working right now. I wouldn't plan on going live, God. What is it you want your babies to know? And then the spirit just begins to flow. So anyway, let me read some of these comments and get back to what I was just reading. Love you, Zenja. That's true. My whole point to my family. Okay, love it, love it, love it. I hope this is helping you all. I forgot what I called this. I think I called, what do you do when your finances or your career, your goals, you don't quite know the direction to go. And I kind of went left field with you guys, but the obvious answer is we continue to go in prayer and petition before God. But I want to challenge you to take that further. It needs to be a strategic prayer life. The other obvious answer is we need to be in our word, but I want to challenge you, don't just read your word. Ask God to open your eyes so that you see in the mysteries behind the passages are revealed to you. Now, for those who are in my mentorship group, you're going to be learning a whole lot about that starting tomorrow and this coming Monday. And the unobvious answer, which is what most of you tend to skip out on, is getting help. Like Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch, the guy that didn't know what he was really reading, and Philip came along and helped him. That's the piece where we tend to just really fall off and just, I still don't quite get it. That mindset is almost as if we're used to having the same results over and over. We say we want to get the help. Then God begins to present the help, and then it's like, well, let me think about it. So instead of investing in ourselves, we'll go, in some cases, and I'm not putting people down, but we'll go spend a tremendous amount of money on a concert ticket to see someone shake their butts on stage. No shade to anybody. No shade, right? I've been to concerts, right? We'll do that in a heartbeat. But then when it comes to investing in our own mindset, it's like, oh, well, let me think. I'm not quite sure. I honestly don't get that. But then we go back in prayer and we're like, God, show us. What do I need to do? Show me, show me. And it's like, it's almost as if God is just like, I'm giving you answers. I'm putting people in front of you. I'm giving you the help you need, but you're not taking it. Let's go to Matthew 25. Let's finish reading this. Matthew 25, where was I at? So that the first person that had 5 talents went out, invested it, did good, doubled it. And Jesus replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful for a few things. I'll put you in charge of many. The man who had 2 talents, I'm in Matthew 25, verse 22. The man who had 2 talents came. Master, he said, you've entrusted me with 2 talents. Are you guys still following? He said, you've entrusted me with 2. He said, see, I've gained 2 more. The master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things. Now I'm going back to what I just said earlier. Remember earlier when I was talking to you all, I talked about, are you faithful with the little bit that you've got? Right? Can you even handle this next level you're trying to get to? So he said, you've been faithful with a few things. I'll put you in charge. I'm paraphrasing. I'll put you in charge of more. But then the man who had received the 1 talent, this is Matthew chapter 25, verse 24. Listen to this. This is what he said. Master, he said, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you've not sown and gathering where you've not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your talent in the ground. See, here's what belongs to you. His master replied. Now again, I didn't make these words up. This is what the Bible says. I'm reading the NIV. You wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I've not sown and gather where I've not scattered seed. Well, then you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers so that when I return, I would have received it back with interest. And then he says, take that talent from him and give it to the one who has 10. For everyone who has will be given more, and he will have in abundance. And then he just goes on to really, I don't even want to read the rest of it, but he basically just says, throw him out into darkness where there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Just to be clear, I understand this is talking about the coming of the kingdom of God. I'm not taking a scripture out of context. But we're looking at the mystery behind it, right? That secret wisdom behind it. And the secret wisdom behind it is, wait a minute, what could it be possible that God is showing me that I need to do with the little bit that he gave me, right? This person was afraid and went out and hid and buried the talent. And this is Jesus telling this parable, which is so amazing. He's saying you could have at least put it in the bank so I could have earned a little interest. I find that so fascinating. In other words, you could have at least done something. But stay with me. Stay with me. So if you go to the book of Ecclesiastes, and I've talked about Solomon quite a bit. Solomon had some ups and downs, and I wish I had time to talk to you guys more in detail about this. For those who are in my mentorship, we're going to be learning a whole lot about these patterns. Solomon is one of the ones we're going to follow because there's a consistent pattern in the Bible of an up and a down. And we're going to see where is that up and where is that down and where are we at in those patterns. So for those of you who are going to meet with me tomorrow at noon, be ready for that. And for those who have no idea what I'm talking about, Unlocking Greatness is finally open. My site is unlockinggreatness.com. Again, like you're unlocking a door, but it's unlockinggreatness.com, and the link is in my bio. And my mentorship is finally back open. I know I had it closed down a very, very, very long time, about 8 months. I have 2 different sessions that I meet with. One is personal development for anyone looking to grow in any area of their lives and careers. And the other one is specifically for entrepreneurs. For those of you who want to develop and have a global brand, really branding yourself and branding your company a global brand, but by applying God first principles. And we go deep into strategies. People are learning how to start life coaching business, how to grow their social media channel, how to launch their product or service, how to private label. There's a lot of things we're going to talking about. So don't think it's just, we're just going through the Bible the whole time. There's lots of applicable things we do. But anyway, you all are welcome to join. It's at unlockinggreatness.com. And for those who join, I will see you tomorrow and Monday, depending on which program you get in. But let's go to Ecclesiastes. And let's look at Ecclesiastes chapter 9. See, I like Solomon. I know Solomon messed up and did some mess, right? But Solomon also achieved everything in life that you can ever even want to achieve or accomplish, just so you know. There wasn't anything that Solomon didn't want that he didn't get. And so I think that the man has a lot we can learn from. But I love in chapter 9, in verse 10, he says, whatever your hand finds to do, here we go again, do it with all your might. For in the grave where you are going, there is neither working, nor planning, nor knowledge, nor wisdom. I read that passage so many times. One, you guys already know why. I don't really want to go into the death of my son, but I read it a lot because it just reminds me that, oh my goodness, we're here for such a short amount of time, and it feels like we're going to be here forever, and we're not. We really are not. And so the Bible teaches us whatever your hands find to do, do it with all of your might, because in the grave where we're going, there is no more planning. There is no more knowledge. There's nothing else we can do. So I got 1 or 2 other things I'm going to talk to you guys about really quickly, but let me see if this is helping. Pretty Thing says, God is confirming his word. Amen. I'm so glad that this has helped. Someone says, I'm glad God stopped me from jumping ahead to the next level so that I could see the real opportunity that was in your mentorship program. He's preparing me. Oh, baby, thank you. I'm so glad that you're learning. A lot of people are unaware of just all of the things that's involved in it. I hope you're going through that 12-week necessary retreat, because that's a part of it. And, for those of you who have no idea what this person's talking about, part of my mentorship is you get access to a lot of the training, my whole 12-week retreat, which really walks you through who in the world are you, how to start letting go of things so that you can climb, how to get prepared for the next seasons that God has for you, and then finally how to walk in mastery. So it's a pretty intensive program where you're going through a whole full 12-week retreat, but then you're also getting bi-weekly live coaching. Some people are getting the coaching weekly because they're in the business, and when you're in the business, you get both sides. You get the personal and the entrepreneur. So that means you're in a meeting every week. Okay, this is just the confirmation I need in Jesus' name. Okay, is this helping you all? I need to develop discipline, so I would look for strategies. My mind is so distracted, cannot focus. Yes, Amy, and that's something actually that we're talking about as well. I talked about that a little bit yesterday. I think I just put a post up about how that's a tactic from the enemy to distract us. You know, many times we try to numb our pain or numb what we're going through, and that's when we find ourselves scrolling through social media, doing all types of things instead of being focused. But I also want to petition to you, when you're going to God in prayer, that's a time where we also need to be asking him, God, please give me wisdom. Please help me to be focused. One of the things that I do, let me give you guys a quick tip. This may help as well, because I don't want you guys thinking I'm just some person that just walks around praying all the time and don't ever get distracted. Sometimes when I pray, I literally would have a gospel music on, like some sort of a song, a worship song, to sort of to force my spirit to, I call it forcing my soul to sit and worship before God. So sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes, believe it or not, I will actually play a sermon. You know, you can play a sermon from one or two of your favorite ministers or whatever. And I would be in my closet praying while the sermon is on, and you wouldn't believe how that just lights me up, you know, and it just encourages my prayer life. Sometimes I'll find a passage in the Bible and I'll just meditate just on that passage and just pray on that. So there's a number of things that you can do to enrich your prayer life. But I want to petition to you all the importance of getting help. The importance of getting help and not always trying to figure it out on your own. There was one or two other passages in here I wanted to refer to really quickly. Now these two I did write down. So one of them is 2 Corinthians 12:8. I'm not going to turn to it, but that's a passage that reminds us that God's power is made perfect in weakness. So I want to encourage you all, for those who are really discouraged right now, because I got over 50,000 responses yesterday from one post. That's a lot of responses. A lot of people being discouraged by things. God's power is made perfect in weakness. And if you feel that, you know what, Z, I'm just so weak. I'm just so tired. You don't understand. I've just been going after the same thing over and over and over again. I want you to train your mindset a little bit. I want you to train your mindset, and I want you to say, and this is what I've said to myself. I've had to say it when I've been in that situation. Okay, God, I feel really weak right now, but thank you for reminding me that your power is made perfect in weakness. Show up and show out in my life, God. Show me what in this weak moment, what in this spot, what kind of gold do you want to produce from this? Thank you for the hearts, baby. Thank you. What gold? One of the golden nuggets was this: necessary. I was going through the worst seasons of my life when God began to reveal to me, I'm taking you through this for a reason. And you're going to write a book that's going to change the world one day. You're going to encourage the brokenhearted. You're going to encourage those who are on the edge thinking of giving up. You're going to encourage those who are mourning, you know. And I just remember right before, not long before I was done finishing up writing my book, that was around the time my son died, when God gave me up in the middle of the night and said, now it's time to finish writing that book. And it took me a while to realize, oh my God, how can I encourage those who mourn if I've never mourned? So God took me through every single season. So what you're going through right now, what I want you to train yourself to think is, okay, one, let me get my prayer life where it needs to be. Let me get my word study where it needs to be. And I'm going to challenge you on this. Get some help. Find yourself a good mentor, a good coach, or someone. And I want to say this again and again. It don't have to be me if you don't like me. Go to your church and find somebody, right? Maybe you got a neighbor or somebody that's really, you know, someone really wise, someone that can help you and guide you a little bit. Get help. It's biblical to actually get help. It's all through the Bible, right? Don't just stay stuck in that situation and have the same results every single year. Do something about it. You know, there's things that you may not be aware of in your mindset that you got to work on. You got to work on that. You got to work on, what are you feeding yourself? What is this subconscious mind taking in? I'm not going to go into that right now because I've talked about the subconscious mind quite a bit. That subconscious mind is going to believe whatever you feed it. And that's going to change your feelings. And that's going to change your actions. And that's going to lead to new results. I've said that at least 100 times on this platform. But the problem is, if you don't get the help you need, for whatever reason, right? For whatever reason, you got to understand that for many of you, you're still stuck there looking at just the results. And then you look at God like, why are you not answering my prayers? I've been going through this over and over and year after year. It's the same thing. And all the time, you got everything that you need for life and godliness. Everything that you need to be successful. And I'm not saying that's the case for every single person, but I truly believe that that's the case for most people. Because normally when I get in a session and I'm counseling or I'm coaching somebody, it never fails when I'm in a session with them. There's a big old gold nugget sitting right there, and it's just so beautiful when we have those discussions. They don't even see it. They don't even see it. Big old gold nugget that's just sitting there. Hang on one second, you guys. Every blue moon, you get somebody that's on an assignment, and you have to just remove them. When I say on an assignment, whenever you're doing something good, you get somebody that'll pop in with something negative to say, and I just had to remove this person. So anyway, is this helping you all before I close this out? Let me just see here. Okay, good. So I'm noticing right now, so there was someone saying something negative about God, and then some other members are responding to that person, basically saying, hey, God is real. Don't let anybody distract you, baby. That's how the enemy works. And see, that's a part of mindset coaching as well. You got to be able to sit back and recognize, okay, here's the distraction. It's supposed to be here. This is that wheat and that tear that I was talking about. And so the Bible teaches us, and I don't think I turned to that passage, when those seeds are coming up and you got that good wheat, the weeds are going to come up right along with it. And the Bible teaches us you got to let them both grow up together. You got to let them both grow up together. So in other words, you got to be able to recognize and see when the enemy has reared his ugly head and be able to look and say, okay, not only is that a spiritual law, that's a universal law. You guys know about the law of polarity. Like, okay, it's presenting itself. I was waiting on you, but what you don't know, I already went ahead in the spirit and I've already dealt with you. Because I already went ahead before this day even started. Now, I know I just went over a whole lot of people's heads, and I probably need to end this live, but I taught you all everything happens twice. It happens in the spirit first, and then it happens in the physical. So get the help and learn how to go ahead in the spirit. Does that make sense, you guys? Learn how to go ahead in the spirit first before things begin to manifest in the physical. And that's a part of getting the help you need. That's why I read the story about Philip in the, I don't know if I read it, about Philip in the Ethiopian eunuch. I think I mentioned it. But you guys turn to Acts chapter 8. I think it's such a beautiful story. I read it this morning and it really touched my heart. Let me just read this and I'll close out. In Acts chapter 8, in verse 26, it says, now an angel of the Lord said to Philip, go south to the road, the desert road that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza. So he started out on his way and he met an Ethiopian eunuch. Now I'm going to pause there just for a moment. I wasn't even planning on going into this. You notice an angel of the Lord said to Philip, told him to go south and go down the desert road. Sometimes God leads us down a road that looks like a desert. It leads like a desert. Someone says, hi, I have your mentorship program. Oh, welcome, baby. Welcome. How do I get into mentorship? Just go to unlockinggreatness.com. The link is in my bio, but it's unlockinggreatness.com. And as soon as you sign up, make sure you introduce yourself in the community and start going through the retreat right away, baby. And I'll meet you hopefully tomorrow or Monday when we have our live Zoom sessions. But look at this passage, you guys, in Acts chapter 8. Let's marinate on this a second. I know some of you guys got to get back to work, so that's okay. You can finish watching this video later. But I'm not going to rush on this. What's beautiful about this, Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch, is that an angel of the Lord said to Philip, go south to the road, the desert road. This is what I love about the passages. You can sit back a little bit and like, okay, I don't know which direction to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. And notice how an angel of the Lord appeared and told him to go down this desert road. Sometimes God leads us down a road. Now I'm back talking to that lady, if she's still on here, that looks like a desert road. It looks like, I'm just having fun with you guys now at this point because I'm totally talking from my own experiences. It looks like, hang on a second here. It looks like it's a desert road because it doesn't make any sense. And you can't even talk to other people about it, right? Because they're going to be like, something's wrong with you if you think that that's what you're supposed to be doing, right? I never forget when God told me to start one of my agencies back up and I didn't have a dime to my name, and I specifically remember one or two friends telling me, well, how are you going to do that? You don't even have the money. I says, I know, right? But this is what God's telling me to do. God's telling me to go to some secondhand store and start buying some furniture and get ready. So you know how ridiculous that looks? When you're walking in the Spirit, sometimes God tells you to do something. If you guys watched I'm drifting again, but I'm just talking. This is a family talk at this point. I'm thinking about a podcast episode I pulled up a while ago on YouTube. It's called My Testimony. And it talked about when my business had just completely turned upside down. I thought I was going to go completely out of business. This was about, 7, 8, 10 years ago. I can't remember. And I was returning the last of my items because my products were on recall. And I remember praying and praying and praying. And I remember walking into that store when I was getting ready to return the items. And I remember right off the bat, I heard in my spirit, God says, what are you doing? I didn't give you a spirit of timidity. I didn't give you that spirit of fear. I not only want you not to return those items, but I want you to go buy some more. You all, it made no sense. I'm not making this up. It made no sense whatsoever. I was already feeling down. I was already feeling like, God, I thought I heard you. I thought this is what you want me to do. I didn't realize, this is so good. Oh my goodness, God, you got me going in so many directions, but I'm going to do what you're telling me. I didn't realize God was training my ear to listen to him. All that time I thought it was about my business in the moment. And I thought it was about this and that. It's only in hindsight, I didn't know God was training my ear to listen to the sound of his voice. Because I was like, God, I don't put everything into this and I have nothing left. And now I'm going belly up. Like, do you take pleasure in punishing me? What is this all about? I know some of you guys don't even know what I'm talking about, but it's okay. For those who follow my podcast, you know. And it's called My Testimony. There's a part 1 and a part 2. And I just was feeling like, but I did my best to follow you. Like, why are you doing this? And you let me go through that whole process. And here I am going in there to return those items. I'll never forget it. And I got a lady on that video who was there and she gives her testimony. She's like, she's not lying. I was a part of this whole process. So here I am walking in, my head down, feeling discouraged, basically closing shop, closing everything up because everything went belly up, at least what I was seeing in the physical. And God is like, what are you doing? I didn't give you a spirit of timidity or fear. Here's what I want you to do. And the Spirit began to speak to me. And I began to walk in direction of what the Spirit was telling me to do. And without going into more detail, because I know I totally went left field, my products came out of recall, and it turned out to be the best and the biggest season that I'd ever had. So I thought the glory was, oh my goodness, God came through. I got some money. God, thank you for blessing. And no. Now in hindsight, I'm able to see all that time, God was just training me and preparing me to listen to the sound of his voice. And that's just one story. There's so many things that happened. He was just training me. Just like David out in that field with that slingshot. Taking the bear out of the lion's mouth. Sitting there playing a harp. But guess what? When Saul needed somebody to play that harp for him, because Saul was going through a whole lot of physical, some illnesses and whatever King Saul was going through, and they needed somebody that was really good at playing the lyre, guess who they called? Well, there's this young guy, David, out there in the field that's always playing the harp. Get him. When Goliath came. And everybody was afraid of Goliath. David looked at him and was like, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the living army of God? David was like, that ain't nothing but another bear to me. Because I've been out here in this field, taking care of sheep, taking the bear out of I always get it confused. Taking the bear out of the lion's mouth, ripping a lion apart with my bare hands. This ain't nothing. David got his little slingshot, boom, took care of him, right? All that time out there in the field getting trained, and it didn't even feel like it. Let me end this, because I can keep going, and I can keep going. And if I don't stop, I'll end up reading a chapter or 2 from my book, Necessary, about when God hides you. So I hope that this has encouraged you all. Let me just read a last few comments on here. I pray to God that this is helping somebody. Baby, when you're in this season you're in right now and you don't know what to do, your finances, your career, whatever it is, I want you to remember God is able to make crooked roads straight. Sometimes you can be so afraid of making a mistake. It's like, God, I just don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. And God is like, wherever you set your foot, I'm going to bless you. I'm able to make crooked roads straight. right? In some cases, I put people in your life, get the help, get the mentoring, get the help that you need, like Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch, right? Continue to pray to me, build capacity in the spirit. I got to get you ready for this territory you're going into. I know you want to get that house, or you want to get this business off the ground, or you want to do this, or you want this relationship to turn around. But I see ahead of you, and I see what's going to be needed at that level. And I got to get you to listen to the sound of my ear, of my voice. I'm not punishing you. I need you to listen. I'm trying to get you still so that you can hear me. So when you go down that desert road, then you'll be able to listen and hear my sound and go in the direction I'm taking you. And when Goliath comes, you won't run and be afraid because you built that capacity in the spirit. Is this helping anybody? Thank you, Z. It's a blast having this time with you. Thank you, Z. Just got here, but I'll rewatch it. Amen, baby. I'm going through that now. You are speaking. Yes, I want to hear him. There you go, you guys. So I want to encourage you all, don't give up. I don't want to make it seem like this is easy. And please don't think that I've got it all together. But I want to encourage you and challenge you all. Start laboring in the spirit. Start laboring in the spirit. One of the things that I'm doing with the people inside of my mentorship group, they don't know it yet. You guys are the first to hear this. I have in there, we have a section called challenges. So inside of the community, there's challenges. Like I've got a 3-day challenge on body, health, and mind. I've got a challenge on, I think it's called Where's My Money? And it's challenging them to list out all their bills and go through everything and make sure they know where they're spending their money and cut out everything that's not needed. They don't send that stuff into me. That's just what they do on their own. And I have another one on something. But anyway, I have all these different challenges and different mindset exercises in there where they don't know. One of the challenges, one of the newer ones that we're introducing into the community is I want to get everybody building up a strong capacity in the spirit and a prayer life. And I'm going to be releasing a program in there for them, and I pray to get it released this week, where they're going to learn to start praying in the spirit, starting off even if it's just 5 minutes a day. And I want to get them to a point where at least for an hour, a minimum for an hour, they're praying nonstop, that they're praying every single day, because you're developing this pattern in the spirit. Because you're going to need that capacity, and you're going to need to hear the sound of his ear as he's taking you higher. So I hope that helped. I love you all. I talked a lot longer than I wanted. For those who are just joining, I don't even know how to sum up everything I just talked about. The premise of this is, so what exactly do you do when you're uncertain about your finances or your career or your goals or what have you? And we talked through a number of passages about where you just can't sit on it and be afraid. Right? You also got to look and see what's in your hand, right? What did God give me? You've got to be aware that there's weeds that's going to come up. You've got to be aware what you do with a little is what you're going to do with a lot. Some of you got to be aware that maybe God's putting someone in your life to mentor or coach or help you, like Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch, where the guy needed help, right? And so we just covered a number of things in that. We covered in Ecclesiastes, where it teaches us whatever you do, do it with all your heart, all your body, your mind, your soul, because in the grave where you're going, there's no more planning, right? And we talked about building that capacity in the spirit so that you can be ready for that next level, and understanding when you're in that season of being hidden, when it feels like I've been praying forever, though, Z, I really have. Well, congratulations, baby. That means you should be building a whole lot of capacity in the spirit right now. Now, what is it that you have in your hands? I'm referring back to that story in 2 Kings that we started off with. What is it that you have in here? Well, Z, I've got nothing. It looks like nothing. Well, that reminds me of the story who said she only had a little bit of oil. So can you look again? There's a podcast episode I have called Look Again. It's a very old episode. You guys should go find it on my YouTube. But can you look again? Can you ask God to open your eyes and help you to look again and see perhaps is there something there? Well, Z, I don't really have much. I done been through a lot. I've heard a lot of people say, Z, I done been through a divorce. It's just me and the kids, and I've got all of these things going on, and it was a very nasty divorce, and da-da-da-da. Well, is there a story in that you can tell that can help the next person that's going through it? Well, Z, but I'm still in the fight. Well, baby, those make the best coaches and mentors. The ones that can relate. Have you considered that perhaps this is the beginning of something that God's going to bless you with, that not only is going to bless your family for generations, but because you went through all of that mess, you now are going to be able to be a guide to help other people. But see, my life ain't where it need to be. Baby, none of our lives are where we want it to be in the moment. As long as you feel you're at least a half a step ahead or one step ahead where you can direct and guide somebody else, you got a story to tell or a book to write. I hope someone's picking up what I'm laying down. That could be the little bit that's in your hand. Does that make sense, you all? All right, let me read some comments and close this on out. Should we all purchase the book, and maybe Zenja can read it aloud? I know you're super busy, but if you can find the extra time. I read my book aloud a number of times. And for those who are inside of my mentorship program, there's a little bit of a surprise. Once you log in and go into the necessary retreat, which is one of the modules, I actually have my whole book as a video book. So I actually read the entire book. Every 7 days, new chapters are released inside of the retreat, and I actually sit there and I'm actually reading it. So it already is available as a video book, but I do read it on social media quite a bit. I just didn't today because I kind of went left field and talked about so many different things. Let me see if there's anything here. Here's your book on Amazon. Yes, it's on Amazon. It's also on my website at unlockinggreatness.com. And I also have autographed copies. So if you do go to unlockinggreatness.com, just go to the Contact Us page and just send me a message and request an autographed copy, and I'll send you that link. You're so right about everything you say. Thank you, baby. I pray that you've been encouraged. Someone says, how are you doing? Thank you for asking me that. I'm doing okay, baby. Sometimes I have my hard days. I'm human like everyone else is. And sometimes you just get tired, right? And sometimes I go through hard days of really missing my son. And I have to find purpose inside of that pain. And going live and doing things like this actually feeds me. It actually helps me. But I appreciate you asking me how I'm doing. That really means a lot to me that you took the time to ask me that. So Martha says, God gave me a message similar to this year on YouTube today. Martha, that's excellent. Send me a link, Martha, so I can see it. You guys need to be looking up Martha. Martha has her own podcast and doing her own thing. I love her. She helps a lot of the youth. She's absolutely amazing. I think, is this something here for me? I don't know, baby. It looks like you're just joining. I just talked about quite a bit. But I'm going to be closing out. This whole message was about when there's uncertainty with your career, your finances, and different things. What is it that you should do? So I'm going to be closing this out. Thank you all for all the badges and the hearts and the roses. I appreciate it. I pray this has helped you all. I really want to leave you with this challenge to get help. I want to leave you with this challenge to get help. And I said this at least 5 times. If you don't like me and don't want any type of mindset coaching or any type of biblical based principles applied to your business or your personal life, and you want to, kind of go with another coach, I won't be hurt in the least bit. Find somebody that you feel you can relate to, someone that's going to pour into you, someone's going to help you. Get yourself into a beautiful community. That's what I love about the Unlocking Greatness community for those who are already in it. Let me just brag on them just for 1 second. It's amazing what's happening because there's people coming together from all around the world and loving and supporting each other. And if you do decide to join Unlocking Greatness, and by the way, the site is unlockinggreatness.com. My mentorship just relaunched. What's beautiful that I love is someone will post something in there, and before I can even respond, or any of my team members can respond, other people in the community are responding and lifting that person up or sharing, their experience or whatever. And I would look and I would say, wow, this person over here is from Australia. This person's from Germany. This person's from, wherever, London. This person's from South Africa. This person's from Alabama. There's people from all over. And they're coming together, loving and encouraging each other. We even have a business section in there where the entrepreneurs have put in a question like, hey, what kind of mic should I use for my podcast? Or what sort of stand should I use for my iPhone? Or any recommendations on a good platform I can use to start having my emails automated? What I love is I'm just seeing people are coming together and loving and helping and supporting each other. And I just absolutely love it. That to me is what life should be all about. And I think that's what we've gotten away from. We've gotten away from, and there's a passage I was going to turn to, I didn't have time. I think it's Hebrews chapter 10:25. It teaches us, let us not give up meeting together, as many are in the habit of doing, but let us encourage each other all the more as we see the day approaching. I think that's such a beautiful passage because nowadays in this world, as you guys know, we're all out here trying to do it on our own for the most part. And very rarely do you see a community of people coming together from all around the world, not only lifting each other up, because this entire year our focus is on mastery. That's what this whole year is on. Everyone that decides to join, just know that's the focus. We're all focusing together on mastery for personal development and for entrepreneur development, right? Very rarely do you see people coming together genuinely loving each other. And I'm praying that God continues to protect it, to bless it, to grow it. And every single, I should say, evil deed that's tried to come against me to stop it. There's no stopping what God has already ordained. So I just want to do a shout out to all of you all who are already members of Unlocking Greatness. I love what you all are doing. I love how you're loving and supporting each other. And I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. We have our training session, and we have another one booked for Monday. So I'll be seeing you guys. All right, let me get on out of here. Simple say, okay, Zenja, I'll see you tomorrow. Yes, I'll see you tomorrow on our training session. I just posted a message inside of the community earlier today, so make sure you read it, because I basically challenged everyone to find what story in the Bible relates to them, because I want to get you guys in the habit of knowing how to pick out a principle and how to pick out a pattern, so we can identify where we're at in that. So make sure you look at that recent post that I just put up in the community. Okay, let me get out of here. Love you all. I'm going to close this out. Love you, love you. I pray this was helpful. For those who are just joining, this will be saved on my YouTube and on my Instagram, and I think it may be saved on my Facebook and my podcast as well. You guys, please get into the Word. Please get into meditation and prayer. And when I say meditation, I'm talking meditating on the Word of God, right? And please, by all means, reach out and get help. You can't keep having the same year after year, and going through the same cycle and the same routines. Get help that you need. If you don't want to use me for my coaching, get somebody else. But reach out and get help. Get yourself with like-minded people, right? Get the mindset coaching that you need. Get the coaching for personal development, entrepreneur development. Learn and grow. I'm still learning. I get coaches, right? Get the help that you need so that you can be able, again, to look at your situation from a different point of view. And instead of sitting there like, God, where you're at, why haven't things changed? I've been working on this forever. It hasn't taken off. Perhaps it's something you need to work on. Perhaps you need somebody to lovingly tap you on the shoulder and say, it's a couple of things maybe that you want to start working on. You say you want to grow this business and you ain't been able to get it off the ground. I just went to your social media page and I noticed you don't have anything up. What are you doing there? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't like social media. I don't like when people have something to say. Oh, so now we got to work on a character issue. We've got to work on a mindset issue with, why are you afraid of what people think when God has gifted you something to give to the world? So now it's not about God not answering those prayers. This issue goes a whole lot deeper. I know I went left field again, but I'm just kind of giving you the idea of how we do it. This issue goes deeper than that. This issue goes, do you even believe and know who you are? Do you really believe in the gifts he's given you? And what cage mindset are you still holding on to that's holding you back and keeping you from putting your gift before the world so that others can be blessed and your family can be blessed for generations to come? So this goes beyond, but God, I'm praying that you change this. This goes to, well, what do you think about you? And what do you think about the gifts and talents he's given you? And what specifically have you done? I tried and it didn't work out. So then what did you do when it didn't work out, baby? And how can we as a community come together to support you, to help you? That's what I love about Unlocking Greatness. All right. Love you guys. For those who are just joining, you're welcome to join. The site is unlockinggreatness.com. The link is in my bio. And for those who join, I'll see you guys tomorrow. And please go back and rewatch this tape. Go through all of the chapters that I just went through. It's too many to count now. And more importantly, if you don't do anything else, please, please, please never give up on God. He loves you. Remember the story about the prodigal son that I talked about. He loves you. Don't believe the lies from the enemy, because the enemy wants to feed you lies and make you feel that you're stuck and this is where things are going to be and it's never going to change, and that's just not true. All right? I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Love you. Love you, Sister Wanda. Thank you for saying that. Love you. Bye-bye. Hopefully I'll see you. Bye-bye. All right. I got to get out of this one. Love you guys. I pray that you were encouraged. Pray you guys were encouraged. Hang on one second. Let me end this. Hang on a second here. Okay, now I got to get off of this one. Love you guys. I pray that you were encouraged. Love you too, Alex. Love you. All right, 2 more that I got to close out. Let me go with YouTube. Love you guys. Hey, Amy. Love you guys. I pray that you guys were encouraged. The replay will be up, okay? All right, bye-bye.